This video examines the civil rights movement and ongoing struggles of Latinos in the United States. U.S. citizens of Latin American descent originate from Central America, South America, or the Caribbean. They are the largest minority group in the United States, with over 63.7 million people. 68% of this population are natural-born U.S. citizens. Hispanic Americans experienced the U.S. war with Mexico in 1846–48 and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848. Starting over border disputes after Texas's U.S. annexation, the conflict ended with the 1848 Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, where Mexico ceded over 525,000 square miles for $15 million, boundary recognition at the Rio Grande, and granted Mexicans rights of citizenship, categorizing them white by law. Several key events marked the start of the Civil Rights era. In 1929, the League of United Latin American Citizens was founded by Mexican-American men in Corpus Christi, Texas, to combat racism. Mendez v. Westminster was a landmark federal case that successfully challenged school segregation in California, paving the way for Brown v. Board of Education. CCISD v. Cisneros, 1971, extended the protections of Brown v. Board of Education to Mexican-American students in public schools. Hernandez v. Texas, 1954, ruled that Mexican-Americans were a class apart for jury service. The 14th Amendment protects more than just black and white racial groups. The Hernandez v. Texas case began in 1954, following the systematic exclusion of Mexican-Americans from jury service in Edna, Texas. At that time, although Mexican-Americans made up 14% of Edna's population, no individual with a Spanish surname had served as a jury commissioner, petit juror, or grand juror in over 50 Texas counties with largely Mexican-American populations. When Pete Hernandez was indicted for murder by an all-Anglo-Saxon jury, his defense argued that this selection process denied him equal protection under the 14th Amendment. San Antonio attorneys Gus Garcia and Carlos Cadena, together with Houston-based attorneys John Herrera and James De Anda, represented Hernandez with support from several Hispanic-serving organizations. They brought the case before the Supreme Court, which, in its 1954 decision, held that excluding eligible jurors on the basis of ancestry or national origin violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. With this case in 1954, building on this victory, Hernandez's legal team became the first group of Mexican-American attorneys to present arguments before the Supreme Court. The exclusion of otherwise eligible persons from jury service solely because of their ancestry or national origin is discrimination prohibited by the 14th Amendment. Chief Justice Earl Warren, 1945. Latino veterans return home seeking equal rights in the country they defended. In 1948, they will organize the American GI Forum in Texas to combat discrimination and improve the status of Latinos. Branches eventually form in 23 states. Chicano movement was composed of Latino organizations focusing on many issues, including equal employment and educational opportunities. Political, National United People's Party, 1970, was a Hispanic political party centered on Chicano, Mexican-American nationalism. The Mexican-American Youth Organization, MAYO, was begun by 5 young men studying at St. Mary's University in 1967: Jose Angel Gutierrez, Mario Campion, Willie Velasquez, Ignacio Perez, and Juan Patlan. They decided that their new tactics would be much more confrontational, utilizing civil disobedience tactics used in the civil rights movement. They form La Raza Unida Party. The party experienced most of its success at the local level in Southwest Texas, in Crystal City, Cotula, and Carrizo Springs. 1953. During Operation Wetback from 1953 and 1958, the U.S. Immigration Service arrests and deports more than 3.8 million Latin Americans. Many U.S. citizens are deported unfairly. 1965. Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta found the United Farm Workers UFW and organized successful protests and boycotts to improve working conditions and pay for farm workers. The United States has approximately 10.5 million undocumented immigrants. In 2003, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, was created to enforce immigration laws. After the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, ICE has seen its power increase dramatically. In 2026, the focus has moved away from targeting threats to public safety toward a policy of indiscriminate interior enforcement. Non-criminal arrests. 73.6% of current ICE detainees have no criminal convictions. Targeting Latinos. Latinos account for approximately 90% of interior ICE arrests. Operational surges. Programs like Operation Metro Surge have seen federal agents deployed in major cities. Warehouse jails. The ICE Detention Re-engineering Initiative aims to replace local jail contracts with massive, ICE-owned commercial warehouse.
This concludes the Latino section.